Hey
Let's do
everyone,
it.
this is the Hidden Hero. I'm back again with you guys for this new interview with Stryker from Lost Relics. He's also been known to do other things such as understanding crypto economies from other books, from other NFTs. And he's an OG from Lost Relics, so he's been there for a long time. I don't know how many years, but we're going to find out. So how are you doing right
Feels
now,
good.
Stryker, man?
Doing good, my friend. Thank you very much for having me on. This is going to be a fun one. Yeah, well, I'm ready to dive deep into it. You want to go into Lost Relics? You want to talk a little bit about gaming overall? You know, wherever you want to lead us, let's get it done.
All right, so let's get right into it then. So, but as usual, but before I do, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell icon too for more content. So let's get right into it. The name Stryker. Who is Stryker? What is the name? Where does the name come from?
Yeah, so I actually got the name Stryker back in college, so it's been a few years. I was actually playing Halo 2 back in the day,
Oh, wow.
and my college roommate at the time he actually had put his name as Stryker.
Oh, okay.
And whenever he would go to class, I'd jump on the Xbox and I'd play under his account or whatnot. And it just got to the point where I started liking the name so much, and I had just so happened to become, I don't know, pretty, not to toot my own horn, but I had gotten pretty good at my college campus to where people started calling me Stryker, and then it stuck to then.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's a cool.
good stuff.
That's a good. Hey, man. I mean, by all means, it fits you. You get the job done.
Yeah, I felt bad, but I mean, it would still, those good old days of plugging in the Xbox into the LAN port in a dorm, and you're connecting to all the different rooms all across campus. It was good times. It was good times.
Do you have a business, and if so, what is the origin story?
Oh man, I have a lot of little businesses, to be quite honest.
Oh,
So
wow.
I mean, my main occupation, I'm a certified public accountant. I'm handling business taxes and individual consultations with a specialization in crypto and Web3.
Okay.
So that's my daily 9 to 5, right? I'm doing consulting work, accounting work, tax work, things like that. But then my dad got me into, I guess, the concept of business really young. So
Oh, wow.
when I was little, he was operating his own sports cards and memorabilia shop.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always with him in the shop, and going to events, setting up booths, taking tickets, So I got a real early on, look into what business actually is, and so I have my own sports card shop. I've been operating it with my father since I was literally, I don't know, I say 15 is when I started taking it a lot more serious, so it's been 15 plus years. And so that little business that I have on the side, obviously doing a little bit of consulting and advisory work in crypto.
Okay.
I consider also, managing crypto and reading up on it and studying it like its own job as well.
Mm-hmm.
I had started a operational LAN center back during the Halo days.
Wow.
That was probably the funnest times possible. Renting out ballrooms and going throwing tournaments or LAN
Of
parties
course.
in cities all around.
Oh my gosh.
So
it's so cool.
It's a lot of little things.
Since you say you're an accountant, have you ever considered doing taxes for crypto in the near future that's out of your reach at the moment?
No, actually I am. I am right now. Most of the taxes and the clients that I take on are more individuals.
Mm-hmm.
The businesses that I tend to, right now with the nature of Web3 and with regulation and with everything, people are, especially on the business side, are much more hesitant to get involved.
Right.
So that is one area that I've already started to progress down. But in terms of tax work, it's more individuals, and in the consulting side, it's more businesses.
Nice. Okay, that's good. Hey, I might hit you up one time, man. You never
Definitely,
know.
brother. More than glad to help. That's So if I do mention anything involving prices or costs, this isn't financial advice.
Oh,
I do
of
have to
course.
say it.
Yes.
I'm required to say it. So it's
course.
one of those things,
Yes, and anything, agreed also. Anything in this interview is also not financial advice. So if we talk about any coins by any chance, don't buy it. What is a book or movie that has a significant impact on you and why?
There's a lot, to be honest. But the first one that comes to my mind is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline.
Okay.
I actually had, last Christmas was a little difficult, but I had gotten into a pattern where every year I would listen to the audiobook for 5-6 years running of Ready Player One. A lot of things in in my life have like intertwined to all kind of relate to this like crypto story, Web3 narrative that I'm going down. You know, so on one side of it is this like there's the gaming side of it. The other side of it is the business and finance and you know, currency side of it. And it kind of just all comes together with that book. You know, not a big fan of the movie, to be quite honest. The book is way better.
Of course.
And the audio version, the audio book of it is read by Will Wheaton, and he kills it. It's a good one. There's this book by Ryan McCaffrey called The Invisible Hand of Digital Worlds.
Okay.
Which is pretty much talking about like the concepts of economics in video games.
What are your favorite video games?
Okay, so Halo has to be on the top of the list.
Of course.
Just because of how much history I've had with it. Lost Relics as well. I mean, it's a game I'm never going to forget because it hit me during COVID, you know, like one of like the most impactful times of my life. Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Of course.
When I was really little.
Classic.
A big one. The Last of Us was another big one. This idea of like a little bit more of a theatrical type of storytelling in a game, like also coming out with the TV show and all the popularity that it got on HBO. I think it was HBO.
Yeah, I believe so. And also it got like a remaster of the first game, even though it wasn't that old. It was that popular. What are your hobbies? So I'm pretty sure, obviously, we know video games are one of the things, but do you do anything else in terms of hobbies?
So I play a lot of softball, or at least I used to. You know, now with the little one, my time is fully devoted over there. You know, softball, kickball were two things I like. I mean, you know, watching sports, I'm pretty big on that, especially baseball with my dad. You know, catching a good game. Love to barbecue.
Oh, nice.
You know, so any opportunity that I get, like let's, you know, experimenting with stuff that you know, like how do you barbecue dessert? You know, things like literally like experiments kind of thing on the grill. It's
that's
it's
interesting. Barbecue desserts. Hold on, that caught me off guard.
Yeah, we're talking about like some s'mores, some like, you know, some like good stuff.
What is your favorite food, and also what is your least favorite food?
There's this Mexican dish called mole that I'm not a big fan of. There's just something about like the combination of like meat and chocolate flavor that just doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't hit me right.
Okay.
But I'm a huge surf and turf fan. So, you know, steak and lobster, steak and shrimp.
If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go and why?
I haven't actually traveled abroad. Like I haven't gone to Europe, or, you know, Japan is another one that's on the list.
Oh, of course.
My wife and I talk about Japan a lot. My brother as well, super interested, but never like to the point where we're like, let's pull the trigger and let's do it. But it gets brought up at least once a year, you know? So I would have to say right now, Japan.
What is a challenge you have overcome in your personal life, and what did you learn from it?
One of them was that when I was in high school, you know, I was playing baseball. I was also doing accounting back then. You know, in academic type of competitions for the high school. And I just got a lot of a fight back about like, you know what, just give up. You're not going to make it. You're not going to play baseball in college. You're not going to do good on the exams. Like, just like, why even bother? You know, you're not the smartest. You're not the fastest. You're not the strongest. And like people wanting to like hold you down because they want to feel better about themselves or whatnot. So, you know, those are hard challenges to overcome that I overcame and made it happen. And so like learning those lessons early on, at least at the high school age, kind of like led me down this path of like, look, as long as you just don't give up, if you don't give up, if you outlast people, if you put your heart and soul into it, like you'll accomplish what you want, you know, and maybe your goals change along the way, but the point sticks. Like, just don't give up, you know. And getting to college got pretty rough. You know, hazing, and, you know, guys in sports, hazing was really bad. You know, a lot of, to be quite honest, a little bit of racism there. And, you know, it was a tough one to overcome, but it was a big life lesson, you know, going away I went to school in Austin. So it was like the first time, like really being away from home, I guess you could say.
Okay.
For a significant amount of time. Of course, Austin is like pretty liberal. So
really?
I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised that like, you know, that was a little bit of my experience, at least within the college atmosphere.
Of course.
You know, it's one of those things. Big life lesson. At the end of the day, it did help shape who I am, and made it past it. And, just moved on forward,
Hell yeah, man. Don't let the haters win, man. Always
Don't let
push
the
forward.
the haters are always gonna hate, but just don't let them win.
Exactly, man. That's very uplifting in my opinion to hear that story. I'm glad that you shared that with us, Striker. What computer equipment brand do you recommend when streaming on YouTube or on Twitch or whatever? Because some people who might be on the fence of promoting Lost Relics, but they're always nervous to go live. Like how we're doing right now. What would you recommend, and what's your equipment that you're using?
Oh man, that's like my equipment now is a little outdated, to be quite honest. Like, I mean, on my PC, I'm running like a 2080 Ti, which at the time was like,
I'm running the same thing.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. Like, I can get things done, but everyone's showing all the bells and whistles with the new 4000 series and everything. I'm like, oh man, I want one so bad, but I also kind of want to wait for like the next generation to come out, get it when it comes out, and then like I can like live its lifespan.
Yeah, of course.
Kind of like what I did with this one. For streaming, I tend to use Streamlabs. I know a lot of people tend to frown upon it and just go straight OBS. I thought it was okay. Plenty of YouTube videos to be able to show you like the ins and outs of both of them if you want to stream. I would probably say as well, for camera, the Logitech Brio has been able to catch 4K, 60 frames, 100. I think it's 100. It can go up to 120. I think. I actually want to do a whole new upgrade, a whole new system.
Oh, really?
So maybe the beginning of 2025, I'll bite the bullet and do that.
If you could change one thing about the world, what would it be and why?
Look, I mean, all of my interests and everything, with financial background and all of that just aligns with this whole narrative that's going on right now with blockchain technology. And like the amount of debt, that is owed around the world, not just the US, Europe, Japan, China, the amount of debt that has built up is causing a lot of problems to just go through this entire economy. The answer that governments have come up with is like, let's just print more currency so that the collateral of the debt does not lose value. It actually goes up in value. But then we have the side effects of inflation. We have wage earners not being able to earn as much as to be able to get past that hurdle of inflation, reduce the debt position that we're in right now, so that people, the middle class, lower class, all have the opportunities to grow and advance the way that it used to be back when the boomers had their run. Because it's a heavy hurdle.
Okay. How did you get into crypto?
2014, I had passed the CPA exam, and I had just barely started to branch out on my own 2 years later in 2016. So I got my own office with a few business friends. We were sharing an office, and just one random day, my best friend at the time came up to me. He was like, "Hey, there's this thing called Bitcoin. I think I'm going to invest in it. I think I can make a lot of money." And of course, I had never heard of Bitcoin before. It was 2016, and I just came out just saying like, "Dude, like, why would you do that? Just look, do your homework, invest your money in the stock market, pick the plays that you feel comfortable in for the long run, and just let it compound on itself." Right. And he like gave me pushback. Like, he just kept pushing back, like, "No, I'm going to do this. And I was like, "Look, you know what? Let's make a bet. I'll build a stock. I'll put some money in stocks. You put some money in Bitcoin. Let's see who does better in 3 months, 6 months, a year." Okay. So he agreed to the bet.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, start doing my research. Okay, what am I going to buy like specifically to beat him in this challenge, right? Of course, still not looking at all at Bitcoin. Just like, what stocks do I want and do I believe in? So when I started putting together a list, a pattern emerged. So one of the top ones was NVIDIA. Okay, this play on gaming and graphics cards and just compute in general. The second one was PayPal, with this idea of like digital money. Of course. At the time, PayPal was out of every $5 that was going around the internet, $2 were going through PayPal. So that was why I wanted to get into PayPal. There was a bunch of other stocks, plays on 5G, but when I put the whole portfolio together, the entire theme of it was a play on the internet and a play on the digitalization of currency. Okay. So I put that theme together. I started buying these stocks, and then I was like, okay, I need to go look at Bitcoin now, research Bitcoin to see if I'm going to win. Okay. So I started reading it and going through it and listening to a lot of shows like, or YouTube videos like Andreas Antonopoulos. I don't know if you've ever
I've
Heard
heard
him?
of the name. I've heard of the name. Yes.
Look, there's one you have to go back and listen to. It's called Fake News, Fake Money
Okay.
by Andreas Antonopoulos. It's like that video was the one that finally pushed me across the line into being like, no, you know what? This is it. Like, this is the thing. So I immediately sold all my stocks, went to my friend. I said, you were right. Screw the bet. What do we need to do to get into Bitcoin?
Wow.
And so like, yeah, I put the money in Bitcoin. We started going down the mining path. You know, we went to all the Best Buys and the Targets. We bought all of the freaking graphics cards we can find. We started building mining rigs for Ethereum. Like by the end of it, the office was so hot because of all the mining rigs running. I was embarrassed to invite clients to go.
Wow.
You know, it was that bad. You know, I was so heavy into like researching Bitcoin and Ethereum and what's happening on that cycle that I was like, there has to be crypto gaming somewhere. You know, so I started Googling crypto tournaments, crypto, you know, whatever. And the first one that popped up was Engine's Multiverse event by Swissborg, the Cyborg's Quest.
Okay.
And so you had to play through all of you had to like it was like I think it was like a 3-week quest where it's like week 1, there's like 5 or 6 games, choose your game and accomplish the mission and you get an NFT, which was like a body of the robot. And then at the end of the 3 weeks, if you have all 3 NFTs, you can go to the finals, which was a like speed run dungeon in Lost Relics. You know, so that's how I found Lost Relics.
How do you play the market in Lost Relics?
Okay, so going into here, not financial advice, people, but I'll give you my opinions on the topic. You would have a very unique advantage right now in the fact that because of all the transitions that's been happening with Engine, and I know a new player might not know about Engine, might not know about crypto, but in general, the currency that we're using to be able to purchase these items has dramatically come down, which means your entry to be able to get in is much lower than at any other time. You know, after you do your homework, you play a little bit, you realize that if you want to commit and you want to play some more, if you want to go into harder dungeons, you know, you're able to get a loadout that will fit your needs at a better price than you previously were able to do. You know, maybe you have some spare cash to throw around, or you enjoy the game so much that you want to go heavier. You know, then it's when you start looking into like making sure that I think you have to start with weapons, you know, either sword, melee, and ranged. And if you're wanting to invest, then you can look at picking up some of those, because those are going to be the thing you're going to build everything else off of.
Exactly.
You know, you could buy relics because, hey, maybe they are powerful or they're more scarce, you know, but if you don't match it with the correct weapons, then you're not getting the full value, you know?
What is your favorite artifact or artifacts?
So there's 4 that just come to mind. It's Archer's Ring, Legion's Fall, Harvester, and Pumpkin. Those have been staples in my loadout from the very beginning, and it's been very rare for me to find occasions to switch them. You know, of course, that being said, the game's in beta, right? Like, we're gonna have items change and be tweaked to make certain things more powerful or less, or you know, to adjust the meta. That's going to continue to happen, so be cautious, but yeah, those are my favorite.
What is the hardest level for you in Lost Relics right now?
Dude, I don't know about you, but freaking level 6 on Descending Nightmares is Sponge Magnet. Like, they soak so much damage that I'm just there like burning energy left and right, and I'm like, I can play this dance with him, right? We can go around and burn some minutes and wind them down without taking a hit. But if you make a mistake, if you decide to go left one time to juke left instead of juking right, and they get you caught, like, game over.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it really is.
I was recording a video that I wasn't able to post because the file got corrupted. But I was on level 6. I had done the whole playthrough. I was on level 6.
Right.
I completed level 6, and I was like, all right, guys, peace out. You know, I'll sign off. Make sure to like and subscribe.
Right.
I turned the video off. And then I proceeded to accidentally go down to level 7. So I was like, oh, what did I just do? And I had a warden's chest, you know, just like, I went down to level 7 with no resources, no relics. And I was like, screw it. I was like, let's just see what I could do. I got through the minions, but I couldn't touch bosses at all.
What is your opinion of Descending Nightmare or Terror Descent? Like, have you tried both of them, or you've only tried one of them?
I've done both of them. Before the Medium article had come out,
Right.
the main question that was in my mind was like, I was still on the path to get to Inverdin, right? So I was thinking like, man, there was a lot of time and work that Cliff dedicated to like this endgame mode that very few players are going to get to see, you know, because you have to get there first, you know? And I was like, how's he going to do this? I was like, he's, you know, what's going to happen by the fact that he put the free to play, you know, the free to play mode in Talmud. Duh, that makes complete sense. Like now I get it. Now I can see how a brand new player can get to experience this patch. Maybe they don't like get to jump to like the best, the hardest levels with potentially the better rewards. But they still get a chance to experience it, you know? And that I think was really, really key. So I applaud him for that for sure.
What is your current goal in Lost Relics right now?
I just actually completed my goal. So, I mean, obviously getting to Inverdin was one, but my big one was that when I had quote unquote come back, the first thing that I did was I started to play the gold market, and I wanted to acquire enough resources that I could level up my production skills, like 1 or 2 levels in each category.
Yes.
And so I was playing that game, you know, obviously I have a newborn, so it's a lot easier to just like leave the marketplace on my computer. Whenever I have 5-10 minutes, I can come look at the marketplace and be like, oh, my order filled, or my, you know, or, you know, I need to change this amount to a different amount or whatnot. I got all of that, and I completed my goal. I spent like, you know, a couple of Netflix and chill sessions, just doing production runs.
Of course.
Burned through all of those. Went up a couple levels and everything. I think I miscalculated my alchemy though, because I thought I had enough to get up to 3 levels, and I only went up 2. But I'm really close to going up to that 3rd one. So I guess that's the short-term goal is that.
Okay.
You know, finish doing that.
What are some suggestions you would tell Cliff to improve Lost Relics?
The way that I look at this, so it's normally like I've been doing some advising for other Web3 games as well, and I like to put a big separation between obviously the gameplay aspect of it, the business aspect of it, and the blockchain technology. Like I like to separate those 3 into 3 different buckets in terms of like making recommendations and things like that. On the reason why I do that is because on the gameplay side, like I can tell you what I think is fun. I can tell you that like, hey, I enjoyed the dodge mechanic, or I enjoyed the endless dungeon runs. Like I can tell you like, oh, it would be improved if you could do XYZ.
Right.
But because I'm not a developer, a lot of the times like those recommendations that I make fall like on like there's so much background information you need to know about actually being able to implement some things that I just never feel confident in giving those types of recommendations. Right now, the types of recommendations I would give are more on like the business development side, which is like one, wanting to make sure that, you know, the onboarding experience for new players is as easy as possible.
Yeah.
Engine has changed a lot, you know, with the matrix chain versus the relay chain and all of that, you know, and obviously withdrawals, you know, getting turned back on, another big one. But I would want to see a world where the new player experience is easier for them to be onboarded, easier for them to also enjoy or be able to experience other dungeons that may be situations where you're not like item capped. In other words, like you can't do this because you don't have mythicals.
Right.
On the blockchain side of the recommendations, it normally comes to really getting a firm understanding of what Engine wants to do, and then trying to figure out how Lost Relics will be a player in that vision or that goal. So I brought it up a few times in the Discord, but like this might not be where we end up, but I would love to see a world to where there was a method where both, you know, Cliff on the developer side and players on the player side were able to do things like potentially use staked Engine to be able to receive rewards that could be found in dungeons, or provide for development costs, or provide for, you know, onboarding of new players, you know, a marketing campaign, you know. So there's a lot of different things that can be done on the blockchain side, but we really have to figure out like what is Engine's short-term and long-term goals,
right?
And why are they going down that path? Because there's there's a lot of competition and a lot of investors and consultants that I'm talking to, like specifically with the Wolves DAO. A lot of people believe that there will only be 2 or 3 massive Web3 hits that will be able to generate enough to have a sustainable economy. And I'm on the other end of that. I actually believe we're going to have a lot of little hits that will be sustainable for like indie developers like Cliff, or like two or 3 person teams that'll make it worth it, not only for the developers, but for the individuals. So we constantly have that like discussion back and forth. I just think gaming is too big for it to all consolidate to just 2 or 3.
Right.
But there's plenty of good reasons to say the other case. Like if we look at the history of the internet, you know, we started open source and now we're down to like 5 companies, you know, Facebook, Google, Amazon, the biggest of the Microsoft, Nvidia, the biggest of the biggest, like they're now the gatekeepers of the internet, right?
Of course. What is your favorite weapon in Lost Relics and why?
I think it's the Void Ripper, man. I know it's hard for me to say that over the Godslayer, but I think it's the Void Ripper just because of there's so many times when I know that I'm about to take damage, but the effect of the stun and the damage takes hold, and now I have an extra couple seconds to get away. Like how far you can actually do the longbow. You barely hit it, or you hit it on a really strong enemy that you need them to drop health. The Void Ripper hits home for me for sure.
Would you say you invested a lot in Lost Relics?
When it comes to like the investment side of it, I'm a firm believer that, again, not financial advice, but most people should be looking at acquiring Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana.
Yeah.
You know, that should be a primary holding for you. Once you have secured those things, or once you're like able to comfortably have funds there where you can sleep at night, where you're not afraid about like, if I can't lose this money, where you have a nice stable investment that can compound over time and let them do what they do, then you can allocate things like 5-10% of your whole portfolio into plays, into like quote unquote the degen plays, which gaming would fall under. At least right now, I would still consider it a degen play. I think at the time the Void Ripper was the most I had spent on Lost Relic for a single item.
Right.
And like at the time it was like I think it was $300, which would be a lot for some people.
Of course, that's a lot for some people.
You know, so I didn't consider it. For me, it was part of the degen side. The way that I see it right now, I'm still within my degen bag. I feel good. I feel good about it. Like I actually, this cycle 2024,
right,
I felt like I've played it really well on the Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, other major infrastructure plays.
Even if you take a lost in Lost Relics investment, would you be okay with it?
Yes, I think so. I mean, I think one of the benefits of like Web3 gaming is that you have the option of selling, even if it's for a loss.
Yes.
Like you put in $20 and you get out 10. Like you can't do that anywhere else in gaming. And that allows you to go ahead and do like what I just said. I rolled it into, now I'm rolling it into other crypto. You could roll it into another game that you're playing, you know.
Exactly.
You have more financial freedom now than you had before. You know, the risk has to merit the reward.
What do you think is the future of Founders tokens?
I really would, you know, going back to one of the questions that you had asked about, like one of the things that you would recommend to Cliff, I think Founders tokens need to be taken, I don't want to say more seriously, like as if he doesn't take them seriously, but I do think that they need to be bumped up a notch in terms of importance. When it comes down to building community, there needs to be a way that the community itself can unite or can share in this type of like universal ownership. And if you're going to set a standard for that, like I think it has to start with Founders tokens. You know, I would want to see things like Founders, you know, one of the biggest issues that we always have is when a new patch comes out, there's always bugs.
Yes.
Right. Again, this is on the development side, and I don't know if like I can say it, but it doesn't mean it's physically possible. But I would want to see a world where like Founders get the patch a week early to be able to play test. Like they're the ones experiencing it, giving feedback, doing things. Obviously, there's been a lot of discussion about like about multiplayer, co-op, you know, things about guilds. I think a lot of those things can first be funneled through Founders, and then out to the masses.
Right.
They don't necessarily need to give, it doesn't necessarily need to give any major gameplay advantages. Like you might not need to get a gameplay advantage from being a founder.
Right.
But all of the like white glove service type of things like, having priority customer support, or having if a new item is going to be sold for Lunari on the market, that the founders get the first option to buy before they sell out.
Right.
Or more rewards are good as well. I don't believe right now that engine or that Lost Relics is going to be going down the path of like making its own coin.
Right.
But
yeah,
if that were to ever happen, if we were to have discussions like that, being it to where the founders were able to benefit for being, one of the biggest supporters of the game. I am in the camp of like, I want co-op more than I want PvP.
Yes.
Is that where you stand?
Oh, hell yes. Hell yes. I want PvE over, co-op over PvP. PvP, to be honest, I could care less for PvP, honestly. I actually don't want it to be in the game because I'll be honest, either of us would have an unfair advantage to any new player that comes in, which I don't want them to run away from the game. That's the last thing I want to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I think when I think of PvP, I think there's ways to make it balanced. Mm-hmm. Even for players that have a big holding mm-hmm. of items. Like I can imagine a world where like let's say it's you against me, we both go in. Okay, before the battle begins, your entire collection of NFTs and my entire collection of NFTs are available for us to pick from. Now you pick whatever you want, I pick whatever I want, and now we go at it. I mean, there's a lot of different things that can be done. I just want to avoid in the short term the negative consequences that come with the competitive aspects of PvP. Like you were saying, like turning off new players, right?
Yes.
Because if it gets to the point early on where the players that have been around for the long time play so much that they know all the ins and outs, they know if you do this, they'll counter with that. Mm-hmm. That will make it not fun. I mean, I'm just complete speculation here, man. But I just know from the numbers that I've crunched with other teams and stuff that I know how expensive it can be to run servers. I know that that's a big financial cost that right. any development studio would have to take on. Mm-hmm. And if that is if we're in a situation right now where those costs are just too high, maybe that's the case. If we're in that world, I would love to see co-op modes that happen like asymmetrically, to where like, you and a partner of your choosing have 1 week to complete whatever mission. And right. you can look at it like a bounty quest. I would love to see other ways that we could do co-op in the game. That doesn't necessarily mean that you and me are in the same instance together. But yeah, I think co-op would be a big one. You have to see the world how it is, right? So like I watch YongYea a lot. I've watched Asmongold speak. I've watched a lot of the major streamers, shit on NFTs and crypto in general. I see that. That's the narrative. I see them saying these things at the same time I see the banana game on Steam selling thousands and thousands of items of dollars on JPEGs, literal JPEGs. Okay.
You are right.
I then see League of Legends creating a $500 skin to celebrate Faker going into the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. And I see gamers revolting and banning that character left and right because like that was a bad move. They shouldn't do that. And then flash forward a month later and it's moved. I don't even know how many hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. Everyone that's come into crypto, no one, maybe except for Satoshi, but no one came into crypto immediately believing this was going to be a thing. Mm-hmm. Everyone starts by thinking like, that doesn't sound right, or like this can't be, it's too good to be true. Exactly, or everyone starts there. Banana Game doesn't get to second place in Steam if there isn't a demand for it by players. The argument people could make is that it's bots. I'm okay with that argument. Maybe it's 100% bots. That's just telling me the world we're going down. We're going down a world where bots and gaming and AI are going to be present. and there's nowhere, you're not going to be able to get away from them. A bot causing economic transaction in a game, almost identical to a human causing economic transactions in a game. But I'm just reacting to what is actually happening in front of me.
People coming into the scene too early, get rich quick. Like, what do you think of that?
People in general aren't financially literate.
Right.
Let's just be, I mean, it just is what it is. There aren't classes in school that teach you how to balance your account or how to manage your money. It just, that doesn't exist. You have to learn that on your own. I have the benefit of, I work so close to the US and Mexican border that I see business activity happening every day in dollars and in pesos. So for me, it's easy for me to understand the impacts of like currency conversion. Throw that to a gamer who now has to understand, I'm buying something for $100, but it's an engine. And if something happens in engine, then did my item really go up in value? Did the engine of it go up in value or down in value? Did I lose? Did I win? I completely understand how complicated it can be. I think that economics in games, blockchain in games naturally lead a more hardcore type of world where players are going to need to better understand these things. If they're wanting to play this and do this the way that you were describing as like, how many dollars can I earn for an hour? Like if you're talking like that, you need to know way more about this topic. If that's not your concern, there's nothing wrong with, hey, I'm going to put in $20. I'm going to buy an item. I'm going to play for the weekend. Okay, my weekend's over. I don't have time to play anymore. I'm going to sell it. Okay, maybe I can't get my 20, but I'll sell it for 15 or 16, $17. Like there's nothing wrong with that at all. Axie Infinity did a lot of good and did a lot of bad. The gaming market right now in Web3 is still digesting the hype that Axie created. Even if we're not talking about Axie in this moment, there's countless games that I've researched or done, written about or whatnot that obviously overvalued. The reason why it's overvalued isn't necessarily because of the development team. It's because of the inexperience of the investing class in it. The only way to fix the problem is for there to be dumps. We're seeing some better things right now because a lot of games that are coming out at lower valuations. There's no way to easily just flip a switch and have someone completely understand the financial literacy of this space. It can't happen overnight.
Where can people follow your socials?
Yeah, so YouTube and X or Twitter, that's the best places where I'm the most active.
If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe, and I'll definitely see you guys next time with another video. This is the Hidden Hero signing out, and as always, never forget to follow your arrow. Take care.